money, self-actualization, and just exploring the possibilities. Macronomicon makes $12,000 a month writing fiction on Patreon. Warby Picus makes $16,000. Zogarth makes $81,000. And this is just Patreon. These authors have stories on Kindle Unlimited where they say the profits are almost 10 times as much. It can be even more. And even if you're not someone who wants to write for monetary reason, then it can be your immortality project. Ernest Baker wrote his book, Denial of Death, while suffering from cancer. And he died, and he put his heart and soul into it, and people now remember him by it. The philosophers of the old ages, even the newer ones like Nietzsche, they put down scribbles on notepads and notebooks, which was later compiled into books, and now we are still reading his teachings. And oh my god, why shouldn't you write? Even if you didn't need monetary reasons or these philosophical reasons, then just exploring the possibilities. There is a huge amount of potential writing right now because we have taken publication away from the hands of the traditional publishers. Yes, Audible and Amazon do have kind of a monopoly, but we can still earn a lot of money. We can earn our living. It can change our whole worlds. And even if it doesn't change it financially, it can change it spiritually. You have a message to share with people, and then through your writing, publishing them online, you can also be immortalized. Well, maybe that's too big of a statement, but on the internet, anything you post is there forever, for good and for bad. So unless human civilization collapses, you won't be forgotten. So why should you write? Why shouldn't you write? Let's explore the monetary reasons first. Look, previously, when you wanted to publish a novel, you have to have an agent. The agent hooks you up with a publisher, and then you submit your manuscript through the agent to the publisher or directly to the publisher, and you've submitted hundreds of times. Hey, maybe you submitted only a few dozen times and you change your manuscript over and over again. It still gets rejected, or maybe it gets picked up, and then you only receive what, 5%, 10%, 15% of the royalties? Don't get me wrong, this is a huge number and you can make still like huge amounts of money. But the whole process was really discouraging. It was hard. You would write on pen and paper. You couldn't have full-time jobs alongside it, or maybe you could have full-time jobs alongside it, but it just plainly took more effort and more money. Nowadays, you can write on Scrivener, you can write on Microsoft Word, you can write on plain text for all I care. Some people write on Obsidian and Notion, those kinds of apps. And after you have a manuscript, you can just publish them on Amazon Kindle. And if you don't like that, there are tons of other websites where you can publish your book too. For example, Royal Road or Scribble Hub. You publish them there for free, and you have a Patreon where you have advanced chapters. It can be 5, 10, 15. Your audience, it depends on that. And maybe people have to subscribe for a membership, $5, $10 a month, and they get to read those advanced chapters first. Some of the numbers I quoted before, like Zogarth, $81,000 a month just from Patreon. Imagine how much tax he pays. Imagine having the privilege to pay that much tax. It's a problem that I would gladly have. On Kindle Unlimited, you could exclusively publish your work. This is called Going Narrow. The website pays you per page read, and there's also these all-star bonuses. They basically give you a bunch of free money for hitting goals, and you could self-produce your audiobook, or you could contact with audiobook production houses such as Royal Guard Productions, who perhaps take 30 or 40% as profit, and they also recoup their losses first before giving you 60-70%. And you can make a lot of money with audiobooks. I know so many stories where writing fiction has changed people's lives. And even if you're not living in, say, a developed country, if you're good in English and you know you can write a good story, a hooking story with mystery, a story that conforms to specific genres such as romance, fantasy, romantasy, dark academia, lit RPG, Eastern fantasy, portal fantasy like isekai, these have a huge market and you can publish them even if you're someone from a non-English speaking country, as long as your English is good enough. I don't know how much it exactly takes for people to survive, let's say, on poor countries, in the poorest of countries. But in Bangladesh, in the capital area, if you're earning like 400 USD, you could probably live easily, almost luxuriously, if you're not living in the capital area. I reckon this would be the same if you're in some third world countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, or South America too. You could basically write. This is a lot of people's dreams. This is someone's life goal, and you can do it at home, publishing stuff online, and you can earn more money than all your friends. When I graduated from electrical and computer engineering from my country, my friends got into entry-level jobs and they would be earning 15,000 to 20,000 takas per month. That's like 150 US dollar. And I was earning almost 350 US dollar back then, just by working and writing 20 hours a month of fiction. At the same time, I was preparing my applications, writing my SOPs, and just applying for higher studies in many different European countries. Those take a lot of time. And writing, well, it took 20 hours per month for me. And I could do them side by side. I know so many people that have full-time jobs and they still write. Sometimes they earn more writing than with their full-time job, but they would like to keep doing their job, and they would kind of like to also have writing as their hobby, hobby that earns a lot of money. And writing definitely is one of those hobbies. They just don't quit their jobs. Well, some of them also quit. I don't want to name any names because I don't have permission for it, but I'm part of a few author Discord groups and we talk about our lives sometimes and we just share bits and pieces. Many people have quit soul-crushing 9-to-5 jobs and moved to writing. And some people were in abject poverty. Some people were literally sustaining off of state welfare. And they just publish something on Royal Road, some silly, goofy little book about a guy that gets transported into another world, or a gal, and they level up, numbers go brrr, and suddenly their bank account is also going brrr. So I hope I have convinced you that now, this moment in history is the best time, financially, monetarily, to start writing and putting your stuff online. And if you think that's just too money-focused, well, first of all, coming from a third world country, having financial worries is soul crushing. When you don't have money, you don't have dignity in a way. But I think your mind shift changes when you come out of that competitive environment of a third world country and you realize money really isn't everything in life. It's the environment. It's a bad system that makes you think like money is everything. And unfortunately for many people, they need a certain amount of money to go out of that environment, or while staying in that environment, to have this self-actualization, this self-realization that money isn't everything. But money is a lot of things. And writing fiction, even as a hobby, can give you a lot of monies. But going on more to self-actualization, a lot of my friends do poetry, and I'm trying to do the Bradbury challenge where I read one poem, one short story, and one essay before going to sleep. Right now, I'm reading the 50 greatest short stories of all time. I forgot the exact title of the book. The editor is Isaac Asimov, and I'm reading poems from a book called Staying Alive. It's a compilation or anthology of poems. There's also a essay book or anthology that I'm reading called Self-Help. And these are not fast fiction. These are not genre fiction, though you could argue in a way some science fiction novels can be genre fiction. But these books, after reading them, I feel like I know the authors now. I haven't read everything, but just a small facet of the lives of these authors. Like, how can someone write such a convincing yet horrifying depiction of a kid who's living through their parents going through divorce, a kid who's living the life where the dad is living the mom and the mom is dying day by day, of a woman who accidentally or even intentionally turns into a mistress for some other guy, and the suffering that she goes through, the self-doubt, the jokes, the self-deprecation that she always seems to be making. It's amazing. And through these stories, I feel like I'm getting to know the author a bit more, even if the author might have died a long time ago. This is the main idea behind Ernst Beger's Denial of Death. It's an amazing book, but the main idea is people are gonna die. Buddhism, Stoicism. People are gonna die, but they want to be immortal. So they come up with different ways to be immortal. For a lot of people, it's leaving their name in history. Think of the greats like Alexander, like Darius, or I don't know, even some horrifying villain. They want to do something so great or so terrible that people can't help but remember them. It's ego, it's pride. Some other people's immortality project can be their art. For example, Leonardo da Vinci, maybe, Vincent van Gogh, even though he didn't get recognition for a long time. It can be music, it can be, yes, books. This is a notebook. And previously, having your book published was a huge chore, like I explained in the beginning of this video, but now with self-publication, you can just put your stuff up there. And if you have a bit of a following and you're not using unethical means, then no matter how badly your book performs monetarily, how much criticism it gets from people, even if, I don't know, fancy editor from some fancy publication house rejects your book for traditional publishing, you are an author. You are a writer. You might not be a professional author. To be a professional author, well, you have to be earning money from it. And, well, there's a lot of financial incentives to start writing, like I explained in the first part of this video. But yeah, going back to the Immortality project, I'm not going to say it's easy to be an immortal right now. Maybe your book is going to fall into obscurity. And maybe it's not going to fall into obscurity. Imagine after you die, the message that you have spent so much time crafting and putting online. Imagine on Amazon, your book is still there if human civilization hasn't collapsed 200 years later. Maybe some other company buys up Amazon and some aliens or some humans, they go through and this one person who ran the YouTube channel called Great Epilogues, he wrote this book. Let me read this book. Even in genre fiction, I have messages that I want to share. I have a subjective view of the world, and I put that in my fiction. A lot of people are scared of writing nonfiction because maybe it's a more systematic approach. Maybe you really have to put yourself there. Even if it's creative nonfiction, it's just too close to reality. So many authors of the past too, they're so afraid of pulling out their deepest fear and putting them on words. As a nonfiction, they write novels for it, like Albert Camus, Dostoevsky, Franz Kafka. They are novelists. They write fiction and they teach us so much. And you can be the next them. A lot of people critique some of the aspects I put on my book, like, oh, you're not skilled enough to talk about this and this horrifying traumatic topic. How dare you talk about it even though you haven't experienced it yourself? Writing should be free, and writing is free because most of my readers actually want me to write what I want to write. And I write about topics that are important to me, but I also write things that I have fun writing. And I write things that I think my viewer will have fun reading. And trying to combine all these three, molding my inner self and also outer self, this is the process of self-actualization. And this is the highest need according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I think writing, if you have a message to share with the world, is one of the greatest medium. If you are not brave enough, for example, or if you don't feel secure enough to make YouTube videos like this, or if you feel like you don't have musical talent, you don't want to do painting or sketching, you don't like drawing, right? You feel hopeless about the state of the current world and AI and soon coming quantum computers and some other stuff. You can put those fears and traumas, everything into writing. And you can find your people online, people who read your writing and like it, even people who don't like it. You will find people and you will be immortal in a way. And suppose you don't really care about the monetary aspects and you don't care about the self-actualization. Just think of the possibilities. I'm an author because I publish my work online. By definition, I'm also a professional author. I earn money, and when I was in Bangladesh, I could pay my rent. I didn't have to support my family, but I could have supported my family, bought all the groceries, paying back some loans if I had them, just through the writing. And if I had spent more time than 20 hours a month, 40 hours a month, 50, I might have earned even more. I might have gone towards buying a house, a car. And those are the possibilities. A lot of people, when they graduate from university, they get ironed in to this one path. I must become an engineer. I studied law. I must become a lawyer. For medicine, they have to become a doctor. They can become those things, but writing is just one of those hobbies. No matter who you are, no matter what you experienced in life, everyone has something to share with another person, and they can share them through writing. They can use writing also as a lever to build other things, like a YouTube channel, for example. There are other possibilities. You might think that, hey, I'm living out of hand to mouth and the state is basically keeping me alive through welfare and I feel horrible, and I'm putting this weird novel on Amazon, boom, suddenly you earn tens of thousands of US dollars. You get to meet all these amazing people through your craft, fellow writers, fellow readers. Maybe you'll be able to inspire some other people to take up the pen or the digital pen and put their own stuff, their own life stories online. It's a scary world, yes. The possibilities can also be negative. Maybe you put something and you just get bullied and critiqued to the ground. But as I have put more stuff online, have received negative reviews, I feel like I have become stronger as a person too. Negative feedback doesn't affect me as much in real life too, because I kind of had to hammer in the point that not everyone is going to like me or what I write for whatever reason that's important to them. That has nothing to do with me. I've experimented with playing with my inner feelings and putting them in a form that's entertaining. I don't want to make a joke out of myself, but this is kind of a way of processing emotions, feelings, sometimes even trauma and guilt and shame. And this can be a very powerful tool. If you are very stressed right now, you don't have anyone who listens to you, you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you feel invisible, and that's a huge problem in today's society. Imagine there are thousands of people online. When they read your book, they understand what you mean. They see you. If it's an audiobook, they listen to you, whether or not you're the one who is narrating. You could make a YouTube channel and Instagram page. These are called booktube, bookstagram. And you could have an audience there. You could have a career there. You could have a whole life there. Writing is a hobby. It can be a profession. It can be a means to explore your own traumas. It can be a means of sending a message to the world. And it can be a means of becoming immortal. There's just so much possibility in it. The possibility that you randomly saw the thumbnail of my video and you want to be a writer, you aren't a writer. You haven't even started writing your novel, even though you've been thinking about it for the last 10 years. No one else, but you saw my video, you clicked on it, you maybe subscribed to my channel, and maybe, just maybe, my weird presentation of what I want, what I desire, and what I want you to do inspires you to put the first words down on paper or Microsoft Word and then put it online, and boom, your career starts. Even if you give up after writing a few poems, you have written something, you have put a part of yourself out there. That is a very vulnerable act. And that makes me successful. My writing, from which I earn money, from which I write fun fictions, based on which I'm creating this YouTube channel, is making you write more, or even start writing. And what can be more faithful, what can be more destined and beautiful than that? So yeah, I'm biased. I think you should write. You don't have to think too much about this. Whether you think you can't write, whether you think you have a lot of weaknesses, just start writing. I do make videos about why I think novels fail or novels succeed. If you want to know a bit more about that, you can click on the videos that appear on screen. But other than that, thank you for listening to my rambling, and I really hope you start writing.